So I wanted to give an example of how I use two shapes of the pentatonic scale to navigate the whole neck. So I like shape number 1 and shape number 4 as my kind of landmark shapes. They're the easiest shapes and the most popular shapes. So a lot of like traditional guitar vocabulary is in one of those two shapes. So I'm going to use as an example the key of B minor. So let's say I have a song in B minor. Step number 1, I find the note B on the low E string. That's here at the 7th fret, and that gives me shape number 1. A lot of you are probably familiar with that shape. So step number 2 is I find that same note B on the A string, and that's here at the 2nd fret. And that gives me shape number 4 of the pentatonic, which looks like this. Now these are the two most common shapes of the pentatonic, and they're the two easiest. And the reason for that is shape number 1, my index finger is stationary the whole time. So it stays, here I found it at the 7th fret, it stays at the 7th fret for the whole scale. In shape number 4, which I found here at the 2nd fret, it stays at the 2nd fret until I get to this B string. And when I get to the B string, I usually jump up with my index finger and then come back to my index finger to the 2nd fret. When I get to the high E string, I usually jump up with my index finger so that I have more control. If I want to bend or do anything like that, I have more control using these two fingers than these two fingers. But there are times when I do use these two fingers, so whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so once I've found those two landmark shapes, I make a mental note of where they are. So shape number 1 was at the 7th fret. Shape number 4 was at the 2nd fret. And that way I have two kind of home bases to go back to. So as you start learning how to diagonally extend these two shapes, or as you start to learn the other shapes of the pentatonic, shapes number 2, 3, and 5, then you will always have two spots on the neck where you can come back to. So a lot of people will learn shape 1 and then have to go through all of the other shapes. They have to kind of climb shape by shape if they learn the 5-shape pentatonic method. But this way you have two spots on the neck that you can go back to. And then usually at least one of those spots is going to repeat 12 frets higher. So in the case of B minor, I have this B here at the 2nd fret. On the A string, I can go up to the 14th fret, and I get shape number 4 again. And even this 7th fret here in the key of B minor, I can move the 7th fret up 12 frets to the 19th fret, and I get shape number 1 again. Very cramped up there, but I could see sometimes using that if you're at the peak of your solo. You might want to get those high notes in there. So I really have kind of 4 areas of the neck that I can use right now. I can use the 2nd fret area, the 7th fret area, the 14th fret, and the 19th fret. So I'm going to put that to use and play an example. So this backing track is in B minor, and I'm just going to jump around between those 4 shapes. I'm not going to play anything except those 4 shapes. So I'm not going to diagonally extend those shapes. I'm not going to play shapes 2, 3, and 5 of the pentatonic. I'm just going to play shapes 1 and 4 in a couple of different places on the neck. So here's what that sounds like. So I think framing the pentatonic scale is 2 main shapes. Shape number 1, shape number 4. Shape number 1 with the root on the E string, shape number 4 with the root on the A string. I think that's the best way when you're starting out to kind of navigate the neck of the guitar. That way you learn 2 shapes and you really essentially get the entire neck of the guitar. I hope you find that helpful. Thanks. Follow me for more lessons.